Welcome to this week's edition of World Crisis Radio. This is Webster Tarpley reporting from Washington, D.C. Now, the leading edge of the news this week is a pattern of massive confirmation in spades of the perspective I discussed in last week's broadcast, which is the question of the looming U.S., British, Israeli attack on Iran. And we have a whole array of things about that have come up in the past 7 to 8 days. Plus, we've got a covert operation by the CIA, a very sophisticated inside-outside operation, reminiscent of the infamous Pentagon Papers preparation for the Watergate coup. And that is, of course, the WikiLeaks document dump on the Internet, and the strange figure of Julian Assange, this bloodless, lifeless, cybernetic creature. Is he a hologram? What is he? Obviously being built up as some kind of a culture hero for alienated youth, computer geeks, and what have you, coming from the British Empire, of course, operating freely in London, of course. So a whole story to tell about that. But let's look, first of all, at the war fronts and then the rumblings of war and the calls for war. And this starts with the fact that we've now got 66 dead U.S. troops in Afghanistan this month. That's an all-time record. That's for the month of July. There's still about 24 hours left in July as we speak here on the afternoon of July 30th. This eclipses the record set last month, which was 63, so we're on track to the bloodiest month. And in addition, almost at half the rate, the suicides in the U.S. Army are now approaching 1 per day after 10 years of endless war and endless sacrifice, all with no purpose, no rationale, just the 9/11 myth or Obama's campaign needs. In 2008, U.S. forces approaching the breaking point. Previously, it had been 1 suicide every other day. Now it's approaching 1 suicide per day. Let's look at the Iran war danger. I refer you, first of all, to Tarpley.net. On Tarpley.net, you'll find a little bit down the page by now the essay I filed about 8 days ago now, a week ago today, actually, which was the Obama is preparing to bomb Iran. Now let's look at the various points tending to confirm that hypothesis. It's really, I think, going beyond hypothesis towards accomplished fact. General Hayden, the former head of the CIA, has appeared on Capitol Hill for testimony, and he says that the attack on Iran now seems to be inexorable. It is unavoidable. It cannot be put off. This is a guy who obviously has ambitions of his own, former NSA, former CIA, General Hayden, and also very dirty, of course. This was I believe, the NSA chief at the time of 9/11. Concerning Iran, we have the defense minister of Iran, Vahidi, makes a threatening statement vis-a-vis the Israelis. Excuse me. Vahidi says that if the Israelis do something that is ill-considered, they will begin, and I quote, the countdown to their own annihilation. If the Israelis strike against Iran, it means in practice they begin the, quote, countdown to their own annihilation. We've got this guy Shapiro, part of the international banking elite. Some people point to Bilderberg, Clinton administration, and all that. That's his pedigree. He says that Obama is in trouble. The American people don't believe in Obama's leadership. The only thing that will save Obama is a chance to prove that leadership. How can this be done? The answer coming from Shapiro is it has to be in the form of a 9/11 incident before the November elections. Now, This tends to dovetail with what we heard from Arnaud de Bourchgrave, the veteran reporter, and that is included in that essay from about a week ago. De Bourchgrave says that Obama's plan may well be to come out of the late summer with 3 wars, but also controlling both houses of Congress. 3 wars, both houses of Congress, and that therefore indicates an October surprise to try to turn this all around. And that would basically go together with what the Shapiro is saying about the probability of a 9/11 event in the course of September, October by now. We've also got Ahmadinejad, and it's interesting. Ahmadinejad's analysis issued earlier this week would seem to corroborate what I have in that essay. If you look at the essay, I essentially at the end of it point to the next 3 periods of the dark of the moon in early August, in early September, and then in early October. The new moon, when there's no moonlight, best time to use stealth weapons. They're not visible on radar. If there's moonlight, you can still see them. But if there's no moonlight, you can't see them. So Ahmadinejad says in his speech, the United States is going to hit at least 2 Middle East countries in the next 3 months. 2 countries in 3 months. Now, there is a question, which other countries being targeted by the U.S. And I guess the Israelis too, he says. This could be, of course, Lebanon, home of Hezbollah. If it's going to be Hezbollah, it's probably going to be Syria at the same time, since, as you see in that essay of mine, the Israelis have announced that they're going to immediately retaliate against Syria for missiles that are fired against Israel. This is especially these M600s that the Israelis fear very much to attack their airfields and air bases of the Israeli Air Force. Of course, it could be Syria, Iran, regarding Lebanon as a part of the Syrian front. Now, nobody in the U.S. to speak of would know this from the mass media. That is, nobody would be familiar with what Ahmadinejad had said unless they had to wait till today, Friday, July 30th. The Charles Krauthammer column gives you some idea of this. We'll be back with this here in just a minute on World Crisis Radio.